Hello everyone, welcome to the second video of the series. My name is Mayur. I'm the head of training and development at Designia Learning. And in this 3-video series, we are learning how to develop our own automation framework in 3 simple steps. And we are going to use Selenium, Page Object Model, and Page Factory for building this framework. In the first step, that is in the first video, we created a basic structure where we have a Maven project and we have added couple of dependencies like JUnit dependency, TestNG, and a Selenium dependency in the Maven project. And also we have created a couple of folders, like as you can see inside the main we have 2 folders where we don't have any classes as of now, but we have 2 folders, that is elements folder and pages folder. And also inside the source test Java we have a test package. Inside we have homepage test that we have created. And also, just for example, we have created one test case. So we have automated one test from a sample site, that is ebay.com. Now in the next step, I'm going to show you how to build the page factory. Now the concept of page factory is related to the concept of creating an object repository in other famous tools. It's basically the concept of taking all the objects, like all the elements which are respective to a specific page inside one element page. So over here, as you can see, we are finding an element and sending keys on that, and then another element, we are clicking on that. Also there is one more element from where we are fetching some text. So all these elements, what we are currently doing is we are finding it inside the test and then taking the operation inside the same test. It doesn't happen that way in the real environment, like in the real projects. Actually, we should have a dedicated class where we are keeping all these elements so that it is easy to manage. And when I say easy to manage, it means if the locator for a certain element changes, we can make that change at one location and then it can be available in all other classes, right? So in this session, we are going to see how we can create that repository, that elements classes. So for that, we will go to this particular package and we'll create a class. And let's call it as homepage elements. Now why I'm calling it as homepage elements is because this particular test is going to happen on the homepage of our application. So all the elements from the homepage of our application will go inside that particular class. So we'll right click here, create a class. Let's call it as homepage elements. And very simply, one by one, we can transfer these elements inside the new class that we have created. But the way we will transfer is a little different. We will not use driver.findElement, but we will use a find by tag. So in Selenium, there is a find by tag that we need to use whenever we use the concept of this page factory. And also, before we use that, let's also create a WebDriver. Over here, let's say we want to find the first element by XPath, and the XPath is this over here. And let's call that element as a public, and the name of the element is, so let me see what it is doing. It's just entering the text in the search field. So we can say search, and this is the web element. Also, we need to import the web element and the find by tags both from Selenium. So what we are simply doing is we are finding a web element which we call as search field by using the XPath, and the XPath is this one over here. And very similar structure for other 2 elements. The next element has this XPath over here. So I'm just replacing it. And it is a search button. So I'm just changing the name to search button. So that's our second element. And the third is the first search result title. So let me change the name first. It is first search result title. And this is the XPath for that. And you can use XPath or ID or CSS, whatever general means that we use. So what I meant to say is if I use a CSS, I'll just use CSS over here. But in all 3 cases, we have XPath. So for now, I'm using the XPath. in this step we moved all the elements, like in this case we just have 3 elements, over to the elements page. Likewise, when you will expand this framework, and obviously I'll encourage you to add new test cases for the home page and find some other page from the application and create more classes for that. And obviously when you automate the test for a new page, you will create a new elements page class. So all the elements from that new page from the application will go inside that new class under the elements. So home page elements and advanced page elements, ABC page elements, whatever. So the basic idea is all the elements from one page should be inside one elements page. So this element page, we are going to call it as page factory, but not yet. It will not be treated as page factory unless we will instantiate it as page factory. Now how to instantiate? How do we instantiate a class? What happens when we instantiate? The first thing that gets executed is the constructor of the class. So we need to create the constructor of the home page elements. So I'm going to create a constructor for this home page elements, which is going to accept a driver. So let's say driver, and first thing is, let's say I'm calling this constructor from some other page and I want to initialize these elements as a Chrome driver. So when I call this constructor, I will pass my driver, my Chrome driver or my Firefox driver to this particular constructor, which will be used as the driver of this page. So the first statement is this dot driver is equal to driver. So the whatever driver is passed when the constructor is called, that will be treated the driver of this class. Now this next thing is by using the page factory class. There is a page factory class. So we'll use page factory, and by using that class we have a method that is init elements. So we are initialize the elements by using this driver. And which page we are talking about? Simply this page. So this simple line, page factory dot init elements, by using this driver, which is this one over here, and this class. So it will initialize the elements of this class. Now this becomes a page factory for our home page. Likewise, we will create the page factories for other pages inside the application. Now how to utilize this? Because it's just one part. We have just created the page factory. How to utilize it inside our test? To utilize it, first we need to create the object of that page factory. So over here inside our test, the first thing that we'll do is create the object of page factory. So let's call it as home page is equal to new home page elements, and of course it is from the different package, so we need to import. And also this particular constructor needs a driver, so we need to pass on that driver as well. So basically we need to call this after the driver is created over here. So I would say this is the right place to call that constructor, and then we can use this driver over here. So now when we take a look at our test that we had created in the last session, initially we are setting the properties of Chrome driver, launching the instance of Chrome, setting a implicit weight. So we have a driver which we can pass to the home page factory and initialize all the elements, and then now onwards all the elements are ready to be used. So we don't need to find them again. We don't need to use like driver.find element and all that. We can simply use the actions. Like this is the first element. It is this home page dot search field. That's the first element. And the second one, this is the search button. So I'm just saying home page dot search button. So search field, send keys on that, search button, click on that, and when we want to get the search result and get the text, it's again the same thing, home page dot first search result title. That is the element from which the text will be fetched. So much cleaner, not final as of now, but much cleaner. We are no longer finding the elements inside the test. We have a dedicated location where we can add the elements and manage it at one location and use it from wherever we want. So this was the second step of creating the repository of elements, and you can call it as whatever, call it repository or call it as page factory. It's one and the same. But we have not yet implemented the pages as of now. In the next step, in the next video, we will see how to implement the pages. And that is where the real power of page object model comes in. That's the most important part. So in the next session, I will talk to you about creation of pages and also some cosmetic changes. Like we are not really using different annotations of test.ng, like before method, after method, before class, etc. So we will add it. So some more cosmetic changes and the implementation of pages is what we're going to see in the next session. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Let me know your suggestions, and please subscribe to Designia community by going to deeasylearn.com, so that we'll be in touch and you will get notified for all new videos and all our new ventures. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one.